Howdy, folks. Welcome to the channel, Rockin' the Country. I'm Don. I'm kind of smiling because this is one of the things I love about doing this channel. There's a lot that I love about doing it all. The exposure to the great songs, the perspectives, the artists, the heart, the sadness, the joys, all that. But Matt Galardo made a gift to the channel for me to do this reaction of one of his own songs. And Matt, so thank you for the gift and the request, Matt. And Matt has kind of recently, right, Matt, kind of done more than dabbled in the songwriting. You've kind of invested a fair amount of heart and soul into it recently and recorded some things. And I think you said on the last one that I did of yours, not on uber professional equipment, but nonetheless good enough to get a sense of what you're about, what you're singing about, and all that, because we can certainly hear your voice and discern the lyrics, no problem whatsoever. So we're going to see what you got here, and this one is One for the Muses. So, and I love the idea of having a muse because a lot of writers, myself included, sort of have another voice in a sense. It's not like an auditory voice, but it's sort of like an alter conscience, or you're thinking of something or someone else or something while you're doing your writing. And maybe you know of a writer. Let's say I do long form writing. I write books. And I might be thinking of somebody who's very detail oriented. And I'm like, all right, I got to write detail oriented like this. That'll be in my mind. That will be my muse, serve as my muse for that. Or being very honest and open about things. And Anne Lamott would be my muse, or Mary Carr would be my muse for that. And they have been. But this is One for the Muses. I don't know what it is. It's not One for the Roses, but One for the Muses. So let's see. Oh, and Matt said, I wrote it down, he poured a lot of writing into this one. And that is the way it works. These songs just don't get written out in 10 minutes. Sometimes they take years to finish. You start it, you run out of ideas, then a year later something happens and you go back to it and then whatever. So let's see, Matt.
I was there tending my heart on a quiet New Year's night when I saw her walking under dim neon lights. I knew who she was, and I knew I wasn't wrong. The ghost from the lyrics of one of my all-time favorite songs.
All right.
And her dress swayed easy like it had in those lines. She was the same old vision I'd heard 1,000 times, and no one seemed to see her as she entered all alone. But I caught a bittersweet smile as Mary sat there on her own. And the door creaked again and opened wide once more, and another young woman stepped across that floor. Another quiet muse from another singer's rhymes, and my mind drifted through those familiar well-worn lines.
All right, now I'm wondering who these women are and what the songs are that you're referring to. All right, you got me intrigued here, Matt. Also, the thought struck me, I think you're ready to have another guitarist in there with you. Not a different guitarist, I mean a second guitarist come in and join you when you're recording these songs. And obviously that adds, quadruples the complexity of the song, just adding another guitar, because you got to work that out and rehearse and all that stuff. But I think you're ready for that.
With the same black hair that the sun had turned brown, well, still standing strong since her house had burned down.
Ouch.
Lori slid in there by Mary, and they talked just like old friends, like two lives stitched together by the ballads of their men. And just like it was with Mary, no one else seemed to see. And when Lori lit us cigarette. No one looked up but me, and I couldn't tell if I was dreaming or if they were truly there. But I couldn't look away, and they never saw my stare.
Mary and Lori so far.
One more time that door swung open wide, and yet one more famous Muse Spanish danced inside. But beneath that bright movement was a sad, long-lost smile. She was the one I'd known longest while. The others warmly welcomed her as Maria sat herself on down. Three muses there together, finding common ground. They spoke of the man who had written down their lives, who turned all their longing into chorus, verse, and rhyme. And just as quickly as they come, one by one they were gone, fading quiet like a mist before the break of dawn. And I wasn't even sure if it was real or just a dream, but I'd witnessed something sacred on that quiet New Year's Eve. And when I went to clean the table, I was sure that it had been true. As I stood still just a moment, as a feeling passed me through, lay there on the table like a whisper just to me. Laid a single folded note, it was signed with mystery. It said, Mary's got a song, and Lori's got a scar, and Maria's still out dancing underneath the same old star. Three names and verses, three ghosts in this bar. Pour one for the Muses, wherever they are.
All right, so here's what I got toward the end there. I think on New Year's Eve that you wrote those down, and then you woke up the next day and you realized that you'd written these notes: Mary, Lori, Maria, and maybe you were spending New Year's Eve alone. And I'm not saying this is you per se. I'm saying that, I mean, not you per se, Matt. I'm saying that the character represented in this song doing the singing, who's wondering if it's a dream or not. There was a note there, and then one interpretation is that they actually were there, and then they left. And then, but the other one is that you had written it, the songwriter had written it, found it the next morning, and decided to write a song about it. Whether tequila was involved or not, I'm not sure, because Maria was the Latina, and from what I could tell, she was out dancing. For some reason in my head, I had Latina, but maybe I just read that into it. But Mary, Lori, and Maria, Maria is the dancing one. But I think in the song you said you knew her longer than the others, or something, or not better. That word didn't appear in the song, but you knew her longer. But who she was to you, I'm not sure, or how she became your muse, I don't know, but I liked it. Early in the song, I was questioning, obviously, where it's going, because you always want to know. But yeah, you poured a lot of writing into this, Matt. You sure enough did. I mean, I was impressed in that you remembered the lyrics. And I think that as far as remembering all the lyrics and being able to play the whole time for a 4.5, 5-minute song is a challenge. And certainly you are working on that. Your lyricism, I really like that in this song. And as far as making a demo goes, it's one of these things where, once you have enough material, and I think you have a lot more, you've had me react to two, but I'm sure that you've got a lot more. And because once you start recording and writing, you're like, I'm going to keep doing it. You tend to do that. Not always, but, artists tend to, songwriters do. that you could send that to people. I don't know, publishing houses and such. And then you put it in the hands of people who have the equipment and all that stuff. And you get your songwriting credit and you get the new house once somebody records it. But I do like the progression here. I'm wondering where it was going. The third door opened. And then in the end, we were still left wondering. So there was a note on the table, but was it real or is it a dream? Now we're left wondering, is it real or a dream? Because you very, very brilliantly did not reveal that. To me, you didn't reveal it. Maybe it was supposed to be read very literally and in an obvious sense that the muses were actually there. And New Year's Eve, you woke up New Year's Day, and guess what? From your 3 muses, now go write a song. But that's what muses are. Are they real? Are they fictitious? When I write, like I said in the beginning, I have other people in mind whose writings I've read, and they sort of like I channel my sense of who they are or what they're about or how they wrote into mine. And I'm like, if I have a deficiency in my ability to write or in how I'm trying to write, I fill it in with somebody that is an example to me that I hold in high esteem, whose writing I really like. So is that real or am I making it up? I mean, that's subject to interpretation. So, I'm going to rate this one, Matt. I don't know if I rated the first one or not. I'm going to rate this one on the lyrics, and I'm going to go with the number that popped into my head, and it was an 8.8, and it was strictly on the intrigue developed on the lyrics. I mean, in a sense, although your voice is very different and in many cases mercifully than Bob Dylan's, it was almost like the progression of like a Dylan song where you're just running right through the context and you have to wait for the next line to get more of that context. And by the end of the song, the puzzle is filled in. But once you see the puzzle, you realize it's still a mystery. And that is very good writing. That's really good stuff. So congratulations, my friend. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Leave your comments for Matt. I'll put the link to his channel down below, and you can go check it out. Have a great day. I'll see you in another video. Keep rocking to poetry.